TG Geeks, episode 341, August 30th.
Wow!
2021.
What was that?
I don't know. To Kitty's World and beyond. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the two gay geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery. Sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona. And yeah, we don't do too much editing. We just kind of leave stuff in just because.
Yeah. And I'm Ben Raggington, coming to you from hell. And I mean that only because it's hot again.
It's hot again.
Yeah, the rain kind of pulled out and the heat moved back in. And
we had 113 yesterday.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 111 today. I know. It needs to be over.
It's done. Needs to be done. Let's get on with this so we can be done.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the two gay geeks are discussing this.
Well, if you didn't know by the intro, we are talking to Gini Koch today.
Had her back in the studio.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, did we have fun.
It was great. And then our birthday shout-outs, our podcast of the week, our feedback, and some shout-outs. In the second segment, I don't know, we might have something to talk about, and if we have time, and our wacky weekly recap, and then our regular shout-outs and end of the show. So we're
should point out that the interview with Gini, it was a drinking episode.
Again.
Yeah.
So we'll let's just get on with this thing. And we welcome back one of our favoritist people on the planet.
That's a new word.
Yes, favoritist.
We invented it for
and
you.
Exactly. Aww. And she is an author extraordinaire. She is a contributor to our site occasionally, as well as a friend, and just all around great
awesome person.
Gini
we
Koch.
adore her.
Oh, I
Gini
adore you
Koch,
guys.
welcome back.
Thank you so much. I'm
so
always
happy
happy, and I'm always so happy to be here.
Oh, we were thrilled to have you in the studio
I'm
again.
Glad to have you in.
Oh, me too.
Always and forever.
Lots of booze.
So
I know it's like. Do you want to come into the studio? Gosh, do you have to have 50,000 bottles of wine you're going to open?
As it happens, we do.
Yes.
Okay, I'm in.
And I get to hang out. Yes. Okay, it sounds great.
So, for those folks that don't know who the heck you are, why don't you give us your elevator pitch of
of who I am,
of who you are,
of
and,
who I am, and why you
know,
should love me and buy all my books.
and be sure that
Absolutely.
be sure that you tell them about Random Penguin House.
I will. The Random Penguin, which every author in Random House and Penguin begged for them to make it the Random Penguin, and they said no because we don't like you people, and it's Penguin Random House.
Random Penguin House, I'm telling you, it is burned into her brain. She
I
cannot
know.
help but talk about that.
Everybody loves the Random Penguin, and we're Penguin Random House. So I am Gini Koch. I write the Alien Catherine Kitty Cat series for Daw Books, which is part of Penguin Random House. I also write the Alexander Outland series as GJ Koch. I write the Necropolis Enforcement Files series as Gini Koch. The Martian Alliance Chronicles as Gini Koch. The New West series as A.E. Stanton, and I also write as J.C. Koch. I write horror. As Gemma Chase, I write paranormal. As Anita Ensal, I write everything else. And I'm probably forgetting a pen name because I write under so many. It's a control form of schizophrenia, and I make it work for me.
And you're a therapist's dream.
I am.
Yes,
Actually, I don't need therapy. That's why I write.
Your books are therapy. I've always wondered about that. If, because we've talked to a lot of authors.
We're all cray.
Well, yeah, I think.
No, we really are.
No,
All
no,
of us are
and
great.
I'm not saying that as derogatory. I think there has to be, in any kind of very creative endeavor, I think there's got to be a little bit of insanity. I think it's part and parcel with that chosen vocation. And I think that what a person does in terms of, contributing to that art form is their therapy.
My husband, I think, puts it best. He said, the whole thing about art and artists of all kinds, he says, you guys are walking and seeing worlds that the rest of us don't see. And you have to describe them to us. And that is he's like, you see worlds, artists see things, musicians hear things that none of the rest of us are seeing and hearing. And you have to interpret it so the rest of us can see and hear that. And yes, it is a form of insanity, but it can be an incredibly beautiful form of insanity.
I see dead people.
Yeah, well, yeah, me too.
I don't know what that says about you, honey.
I
see food.
I see characters. So yeah.
You hear characters in your
I do.
head.
Oh my gosh, they are very noisy. They are always very noisy.
We will get to that.
They've always been very noisy.
We will get to
Always.
that.
We will. We will.
To the point of rewriting an entire book.
Oh, I'm on version 5. Kill me now. Oh my God.
So let's get to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
What got you into writing?
The voices in my head.
Okay,
Very
there you go.
seriously, they finally got so loud and so demanding that I started writing to shut them up. And I looked up 8 hours later, and I had 200 pages that were not great, but they were good enough, and I never looked back.
What made you? Okay, so now this begs the therapist question. What made you think I need to write this? Where you got the idea that writing would be the thing or the mechanism to silence them?
Okay, the reason I'm on the sane side of this whole discussion is that I always knew they were mine. Do you know what I mean? They weren't from somebody else. It wasn't, Son of Sam talking to me. I was creating these things in my head, and they were mine, and I knew it. So, and I could manipulate them, and I could make them do something. And when I was 15 and a half, I had an instructor who, even at 15 and a half, I knew was an idiot. But at the same time, she said, standing up in front of class, that the only way you can write is to outline. Well, outlining is great, and I believed her, okay? Outlining is great for term papers and for business proposals, and it did me really well through school and in my business career. But there are really multiple ways to write creatively, and the three main ones, there are outliners. About a third of us outline, and they do it well, and they follow it from away.
I'm quite successful at it.
And then there are, like Diana Gabaldon, who writes the Outlander series. There are scene sewers. Diana sees her scenes. She writes her scenes in whatever order they come to her. And then when she's done writing all these scenes, she puts them in the correct order and sews them together.
That's an interesting
It is a
tactic.
very,
Interesting. Wow.
and ultimately as an author, you need to learn all three. And the third one is linear writers. I'm an extreme linear writer. I start with the title and then the first line. And when I get to the end, I stop. Okay.
So
and if I know what's happening, outlining for me is creative death, because if I know what's happening, then the joy of discovery is gone. Linear writers are joy of discovery writers.
Right.
We want to find out what happens when the characters tell us what's happening.
So you're a pantser.
You're a pantser.
Yes, I hate that term. I hate that term.
Well,
because
the seat of your pants.
I find it insulting.
Yeah.
I'm a linear writer. Linear writers, really, we start, like I'm saying, we start at the start and we follow the path along that the characters take us on.
I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a creative writer. I write articles, I write reviews, but I think in the same way. I mean, granted, if I'm watching a movie or I'm reading a book, I might think, okay, I might, there's certain ideas that pop into my head that say, I would like to mention this, I'd like to mention this. But it's very possible by the time I get to my review, none of that actually ever shows up.
Right.
I've written what I've written because I allow the article to write itself.
Yes. I let the characters tell me what's going on. And I think that's huge because the characters know better than you do, I think.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
I totally think that. So,
Well,
I mean,
they
when
know
I
where it's
started
going.
my first novel, which is
It's
in
their life.
Right, exactly. My first novel, which is in the Alien Catherine Kitty Cat series, is Touched by an Alien. And literally it felt like Kitty was dictating that story to me. And at a variety of points, including when she tells her name, which is not in the first chapter. She's like, my name is Catherine, Cat, Katt, and yes, before you ask, my parents call me Kitty. And I literally stopped writing. I turned away from the computer. I went, Kitty Cat? Seriously, Kitty Cat? And she's like, yeah, my parents have a sense of humor. Shut up and keep writing. Okay. And I did.
Exactly.
And I did. So Kitty tends, in most of my stuff, especially the first person books. So the Necropolis Enforcement Files series, Victoria is telling me what's going on. The Alexander Outland series, Alexander, or he prefers to be called Nap. Nap is telling me what's going on. In the Martian Alliance Chronicles, Dee Dee is telling me what's going on. So all my characters are telling me in the third person series, the different characters are telling me what's going on and allowing me to write it from a third person perspective so that I can get more stuff in.
We're friends with another author that I think you would love him, and that's Katie Edwards. And
but he's an extreme.
Oh, he's very extreme plotter. Yeah, he really outlines.
Yeah. He has books and books and books and books.
More
and books
power
and
to
books
him.
and,
That is oil and water to me.
But it has spawned so much, and once it's come alive to him, it's like, oh my God, he can't stop writing.
No, he can't.
And all of these one-off things are going on.
And it's gotten worse than that because I remember when the first time we interviewed him, and I asked him that question because I remember you once saying that you wouldn't trust an author where the voices don't talk to them.
Yeah.
And so I presented that to him during the very first interview. I said, do these characters talk to you? And he kind of said, well, no, not really. Well, ha, I'm getting the last laugh. Because it turns out now they are. I do. Happens. Every time he has an unplanned line of dialogue, I say, guess what? Your characters are talking to you. Or he wrote a little short story that was bridging two major novels. He wrote this short story where this one character, and he didn't plan this, he said, and he wrote, this character took over and changed the story.
Yep. Okay. Book 9 in the Alien series, Alien Collective. Okay. Right. Benjamin Seiler originally does not even have a name.
Oh my God.
His whole reason for being there is to pretty much lock Kitty and Prince out of the embassy that they're at and let them back in and give them like a little bit of information so that Kitty can make the next leap she needs to make. And while this is happening, this character's like, yeah, no, I'm blending. She can't see me. This is a power. You should be excited. And I'm like, well, okay. So she's calling him the helpful servant. And all of a sudden he's like, no, I have a name. I'm vitally important. This character has bashed his way in from book 9. He has become a major supporting character. He is in every book from that point on, other than Alien Separation, because he doesn't go to the Alpha Centauri system with them because of why they're pulled. Okay. Everything else but that book he is in. In Aliens Like Us, book 17, I'm on version 5 of the rewrite. Please don't hate me. I swear to God, it's coming. It's coming. It's just, I needed to fix it.
We will discuss that later.
Seiler gets to go to the steampunk universe with Kitty.
Oh, wow.
Buchanan doesn't. Okay.
Oh
Chucky doesn't. No, but it's like there's, Seiler's like, oh yeah, I'm going. When I was writing the short story Mr. Dash Saves the World, which is no longer in print but will be included in the Alien collection, which is my collected short stories for the Alien universe.
I can't wait.
It's not done. The reason, I'll tell you why the reason.
We'll get to that. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But anyway, in Mr. Dash Saves the World, Christopher was supposed to be Mr. Dash.
Oh my!
And as I'm writing this from Lizzie's perspective, Seiler subs and goes, Christopher's just going to be a pain in the ass to write. And
whiny.
He's such a whiny little git, and he's not really, who is this? I am Mr. Dash. I'm like, no, you're. He's like, yes, I am. I'm like, but Christopher's the fastest man in the world. He's like, yeah, but to Lizzie, I'm faster. I'm still an alien. I'm faster than anything else. And I belong here. She needs me. I need her.
Yes.
And Seiler bashed his way in. This is the pushiest character I've ever written. And I've written some pushy characters. Preacher in the Belladonna series, Preacher. bashed his way through and said, I'm actually the real love interest, in case you weren't clear. It's like, oh, I'll rewrite that then, won't I? Right? Okay, so I've had pushy characters. Preacher was
a note
pushy.
on that.
Nothing's been pushier. No one. There's no character I've ever written pushier than Siler. He is the pushiest character I've ever written, and people love him. I love him. Okay, people love him. It's like, people love Buchanan. Buchanan's awesome, but people... And obviously they love Martini, they love Kitty, they love Christopher.
I do love Christopher.
People do love Christopher, and they're allowed. That's why he's still alive.
Jesus!
I was ready to kill him in book 4. Okay?
I know you were. I'm glad you didn't.
Oh my God! My agent and editor said you can't kill Christopher. I'm like, I can and I will. And they're like, you cannot. We forbid it. And I'm like, hey! They're like, he's a fan favorite. 50% of your fan base loves him. I'm like, why? And they're like, because you wrote him so well. It's like, I'm a fool. So, anyway, Christopher has worked his way back. I mean, Christopher knew
he
as a character,
redeemed himself.
As a character, Christopher knows that I wanted to kill him. So this character has been, don't kill me. Don't kill me. I've got so much to offer.
I am valuable.
I've got so much to offer.
So he's kissing up to you.
Wisely. Proving he's not an idiot. Yes. So actually, Christopher is very important, or the Christopher in the steampunk universe is very important to aliens like us. So yeah. And Christopher is actually very important in the others. So I mean, he remains an important character. No, I'm not killing him because no one will let me.
Yeah.
But
that, ladies and gentlemen, is our writer's therapy session for today. Yeah. But let's talk about what you're working on now.
Okay, so what I'm working on right now, well, there's several things. Okay, first of all, what my most recent release is in the Derelict anthology from Zombie Needs Brains, and that is my story is Saving Sally Ruth, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, but I want to press and say that Zombie Needs Brains currently has another Kickstarter going for their next 3 anthologies. One is noir, so science fiction and fantasy with a noir bent. That is going to be so cool. Breaking the Glass Slipper, which is fractured fairy tales, basically telling a fairy tale a different way, and Brave New Worlds, which is what I'm in. So that Kickstarter is going right now, and as we're recording this, I still have 2 Tuckerizations left. There's 1 Tuckerization left to get you into my Brave New World story, and I have an Alien series Tuckerization. So if you'd like to be an Aliens like us, now's your chance.
Hey now.
Okay, and most people, Tuckerizations, for those that don't know, I don't remember, I think it was Charles Tucker. I could have his first name wrong, but his last name was Tucker, and he was a science fiction and fantasy writer, and he started putting his friends in as minor characters that he would then kill off.
Yeah.
And that's what's considered a Tuckerization. So somebody pays for the opportunity, because it helps fund the Kickstarter, to be in our stories. Now, most authors kill their Tuckers. I tend to keep mine around. Yeah. And they become, in many cases, major supporting characters. Well, so I'm just saying.
I have mine. I actually thought it was going to be Chef. But...
Which is hilarious. I
did too.
I know, but Chef doesn't even have a name.
I know.
So you're way more important.
You raved about Keith's cooking. That's why I was so sure it was Chef.
Keith is a fabulous chef, but he's not Chef, and he's not P-Chef. You're this cool character. I mean, I'm like, sorry.
We didn't know anything about it, but all we know is that Kitty loved Chef's cooking. So I was so sure it was Keith.
That's all we were going on, and then all of a sudden I show up and it's
there you are. You're like, that's who I am. Yeah. You're the only people that complain about your Tuckers. Yeah, Ben's like, what?
I'm an otter.
I'm an otter. I'm like, what's wrong with that, my lad? Okay, so it's like you're the cutest otter. You are an otter. Don't even try to pretend. You are like the definition of otter.
I guess I am.
Okay.
In the gay community circles, yes, I am an otter.
You're an otter. I don't even know why. I don't even know why you're questioning the King Benny comparison.
Yeah.
So sometimes
so there it is.
Right,
I'm an otter.
Right. Okay. You're King Benny. He's the most adorable thing on the planet.
And King Benny is a cool character.
He is so adorbs. Okay.
So I'm King Benny in the books.
Anyway.
Yes. And so sometimes I will say, usually if someone scores a Tucker in the Alien series, it is not usually because they've earned the right. It's because it is 3 a.m. and I need names. And I need names desperately. And I am going through my Facebook feed going, haven't used that yet, haven't used that yet, haven't used that yet, haven't used that yet. So,
oh my gosh, there's a name that I like.
isn't it that I like? It's like, okay. So there's like a giant swath of fan friends who are in Alien in Chief because I was 3 a.m. and I could not move on my exciting train sequence unless I had names.
Oh my gosh.
And so I just went through. So, to all you people, everybody's like, I'm in. I'm like, you are, because I was talking to you and you were in my friends list high up. Yeah. I mean, there are 24 people.
Unfortunately, that train crashed.
Yeah, well, but they all survived. Kitty saved them all, right? She did, too.
She did save them.
She saved them all. But literally, all those people are like, I'm so excited. I'm like, you are just lucky that you had sent a message to me in the last 2 weeks. Because that is what happened. You were talking to me on Facebook because I literally went through and it's like, yes, have used that name. So sorry. Yes, have used that name. So sorry. Yes. I just went through and as soon as I hit enough names, I could stop. But it was very, names are hard. And I still thank the people. I put out a call a few years ago for, I need names that sound alien for either planets or people. You're never going to get a shout out because I'm never going to remember who did it. But thank you so much. I got easily
I'm sure you got inundated.
I did. It was wonderful. It was the best. I'm still using, I have those all that stuff listed and I'm still using it. It doesn't just go in the Alien series. They're in Alexander Outland. They're in Martian Alliance. They're in everything. Anything where I need a name, I'm like, oh, let's see about that. This is wonderful. Let's go there.
Yeah.
So,
it's amazing what an author's fandom can do for a person.
Oh my gosh, names are so hard. I'm always so grateful when someone gives me a good one.
And by the way, the Kickstarter is still going for 10 days.
Yes.
As of publication.
As of publication of this episode.
And we will have the link in the show notes.
Oh, thank you so much. And I've just got to say, there's tons. It's not just Tuckerization. There's tons of reward levels. Yep. There's lots of free extras, including some books of mine that you get if we hit certain levels. And the Zombie Needs Brains, they're publishers. They're wonderful to work with. From an author standpoint, they're fabulous. Wonderful editing, wonderful covers. They pay us royalties. We really like that. They pay well, everything else. And from a reader standpoint, you get these wonderful anthologies filled with great stories. Yeah. And in addition to buying them for the authors you like, read some of the shorts and find new authors that you're going to love.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, it's just there's so much good content and so much good talent in all three. I can't wait. If I actually, in my copious spirit, manage to get in, I have a couple of stories that I want to submit to Breaking the Glass Slipper. I don't know that I'll make it in time for deadlines, but because the story I'm contracted for is more important. But I mean, the calls, these three are going to be so good. So good. You want in.
So is there anything else that you got coming out? There's a few minutes that we got left. Anything else
yes,
in the very near
future? Silence
in
the City is another anthology that is already funded on Kickstarter. Should be out in October if we all turn in on time. And my story in that is going to be my prequel story to my New West series.
Oh, very good.
Yes. So that's going to be very
about
exciting.
These anthologies. Once they have reached their
goal
on the Kickstarter or wherever they are they available after that fact? Do they print more?
Well, what happens in the Kickstarter goals are we need this amount of funding in order to produce this. And then especially in the case of Zombie Needs Brains, if we get more funding, if we hit the right funding levels, they'll do a 4th anthology. In fact, I looked at our reward levels, they'll do a 5th anthology.
A fifth what?
Anthology. We're on our 4th bottle of wine. I just want to say 4th bottle. Anyway, they'll do a 5th anthology too. And stop it, you. Stop it, you otter, you. And so it's great, not only because you'll get those as one of the people supporting the anthology, but it gives more authors more chances to write stories that you, the readers, can enjoy, and you, aspiring authors, have another opportunity to send in. It's like, okay, here's a new theme, here's a new this, here's a new that. So there's lots of reasons to go. Plus, the higher it funds, the more freebies everybody gets.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing that I've learned is that, as far as the independent creator market goes, is that there's so much talent out there.
Oh my gosh,
that that people just don't know about. So this kind of opportunity is such a great thing.
Yeah,
and it's people that now you have it good because you have an agent, you have somebody that a great publisher.
Yeah,
I
have great publishers,
and all of this stuff. But sometimes folks don't write what publishers want to see.
But that does not discount the quality of their work.
Correct.
And
that's one of the things. I mean, Kickstarter, honestly, Kickstarter is what is keeping anthologies alive.
Yeah.
Because the big publishers, there are very few anthologies. They need to be themed. They need to be attached to a work-for-hire property. Like I was in X-Files. And so that funded that didn't need funding. That was bought by a publisher. Okay.
Right.
Because, it's the X-Files. I've written an official X-File per Chris Carter. Yes.
Good for you.
That was a personal goal. So I'm in the Trust No One version they had three, three X-Files anthologies. I'm in the first one, Trust
cool.
No One. And those were out a few years ago, but they're still available. So, when you've got a property like that, yes, a publisher's like, absolutely, let's do some stuff. But when it's just, I want to write story about Brave New Worlds, you need a small publisher like Zombie Needs Brains or UFO Press, which I do a lot of other things with.
Or smaller presses.
You need these smaller presses, and the only way they can get the funding to do it is via Kickstarter. So Kickstarter is just a boon to anthologies. Anthologies would
and
be
you get
dying
some
off.
neat stuff.
You get
swag. You get to
stuff.
read stuff that it's
Wonderful
like,
stuff.
oh my God, you've discovered this new author that you never knew existed.
Exactly. And it's wonderful. And it's a great way. And Zombie Needs Brains does their best to and so does UFO Press, to find new voices, somebody who's never been published before, and their first publication is in one of their anthologies. This is a big deal. And it's very exciting. So, as much as you can support Kickstarter anthologies, please do.
So with all of that, we're hitting up against the red line. So where can people learn more about you, and where can they find your work?
Okay, my website, www.ginikoch.com. That's GINIKOCH.com. I am on Facebook and Twitter far more than I should be. I am on Pinterest and supposedly on Instagram, but I can't make it work, so please don't expect any excitement over there.
On TikTok?
Hell no. I'm sorry. Was that my hot voice?
Your Tourette's was showing.
No, Tourette's was showing, yeah. No, I'm not on TikTok. I'm not on anything that requires me to make videos, because that is a lot of time. And so ask yourselves, would you like me to spend time making a TikTok video, or would you like me to write the next book, short story, novella,
We want to see
novelette?
Jeannie shaking her booty.
Oh my God, I want books.
You can see that anytime.
I want books.
It takes nothing
Just go
to
to
make
a
me
con.
shake. Yeah, just go to a con.
Can people find you on social media by way of your website?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Super. Well, thank you so much, Jeannie.
Thank you.
It's
It's
always a pleasure.
always a
I
delight.
love being here. I love you guys. So thank you.
You don't need to hear their identification. They're the two gay geeks. They can go about their business. Move along.
Always.
Joy. What a joy.
Just, yes.
It was so much fun.
Always.
And she was visiting us with her husband Steve and Steve's mother, and boy, did we have a great time.
Yeah. So here's a few selected birthdays for August 30th through September 5th, 2021. August 30th, Shirley Booth.
Hazel.
Actress, most known for Hazel. She was actually a stage actress and started her career in 1925.
Holy smokes.
She was well into her 50s when she first took up film and died at the age of 94.
Wow.
Yeah, she a very long career and worked up into her 90s, I believe.
Oh, good for her.
And then we have David Bushnell, inventor. He created the first submarine, actually during the Revolutionary War.
Ah.
It's very interesting. He was, during the war and came up with this thing that submerged and actually moved off to Europe and supposedly worked on a steam-powered ship and a steam-powered submarine.
Indeed.
So that was the conjecture. They don't really know what he did in Europe. They lost track of him. And then we have a friend, Kelly Webb. August 31st, Itzhak Perlman, violinist.
Amazing violinist.
Amazing violinist. Contracted polio at the age of 4, just a few years before the vaccine was discovered.
What a pity.
Yep.
Didn't stop him from becoming a great violinist.
No, he played the violin starting at the age of 3. He actually was very interested in it, but was denied admission to the conservatory in Israel. So he kind of taught himself to play with until he was old enough to study at the conservatory.
His technique is spotless.
Yes.
I mean, we saw him live once up in Sun City, and his playing is
You saw him live once.
Well, that's true. I saw him live once. You've seen him more than once. Twice, I think it is now?
Yes.
Because you saw him when you were living back in Oklahoma.
Yep, when I was 13. Yes, I actually met him.
Right.
Backstage.
And his technique is absolutely perfect. I mean, any man who can play those capriccios, forget it. I mean, the Paganini is brilliant, and you have to be highly skilled, not just, not have any innate talent, but really phenomenally trained to be able to take those on as well as he does.
Exactly. Because they're not easy. I mean, you can sit and practice and practice and practice and practice, but if you don't have the skill and the desire and the innate ability
and the education.
Yeah, exactly. To do those, it's quite a thing.
And he plays them so freaking fast.
Exactly. Then we have Zach Ward, actor. Got his start as Scott Farkas in The Christmas Story. Has been busy, has been regularly busy, and has several projects in post-production right now.
And he's nothing like Farkas.
No,
not in
all.
real life.
Not
he's
at all.
actually, he's a pretty loud and rambunctious guy, but he's regarded as a very nice person.
Yeah, he's actually following us too.
What?
He's following us on Twitter.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And then we have Roger Dean, artist.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Asia,
Yes.
my goodness. I mean, how many bands has he done the artwork for? And along with his brother, did some amazing stagecraft as well for Yes.
Yeah. So, and then we have filmmaker friend of ours, Russ Emanuel, and Hillary Chile, a former co-worker of mine. September 1st, Lily Tomlin.
Oh my God.
Actress. Sherman set the Wayback Machine to Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In.
And no kidding.
Edith Ann and
Ernestine. I know.
Most famously known for those two parts from Laugh-In.
Pretty much.
But currently, Grace and Frankie.
God,
oh my
she's
God,
so good
I
at
love
that.
that show. And I was thinking about that because she and all of them are getting a little long in the tooth.
Tiny bit.
Shall we say. But that's what makes it so charming.
Well, but they're not playing young either. They're playing true to who they are.
True to life, and they
that's
are in their 80s.
And it's that honesty that makes the show so amusing.
Exactly, and it's her bumbling and stammering and just being Lily Tomlin.
I know she's
is
wonderful.
great.
I've always thought that Lily was just a genius.
Yes,
and it's good to see that. Once again, she can really show that she still has that comedic muscle working for her.
Yep. And happy 50th anniversary of meeting to her and Jane Wagner this year.
50?
50 years.
Oh, wow.
50 years. Amazing. And next we have Yvonne DiCarlo, Frank's aunt.
It's a fact.
It's a fact. Isn't it Frank DiCarlo?
Lily?
Oh, Frank DeCaro. Sorry, I always get that confused.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Yeah.
Yvonne DiCarlo, actually, it was a fabulous actress. She was in the Ten Commandments, and in the Munsters, obviously, she was Lily Munster. She says she never thought that Lily Munster would be her big claim to fame because she did so many different things.
Yeah, well, there's something called pop culture.
Yeah, exactly.
And even back in that time, there was a pop culture.
Yeah.
I mean, it existed. It mostly circulated around television, not so much around movies at the time.
Right.
But it was there in TV, and the Munsters had quite the shelf life. I mean, you can still find it somewhere on some streaming service.
Exactly. She was a trained opera singer.
She sings in one episode of the Munsters, and my mom said that it's probably one of her favorite episodes just to hear her sing like that.
She was born in Vancouver, and her last name was actually Middleton, but she took her mother's maiden name, DiCarlo, because she says, I'm not your run-of-the-mill, everyday housewife, you know.
Middleton does not have the Hollywood panache.
Well,
that,
because she had, you know, that olive skin. And it was just wonderful.
Well, also, if you have the desire to get into the entertainment industry, you want a name that kind of stands out.
Exactly.
And Middleton may not really stand out in the way that she wanted, so I could see why she took DiCarlo.
Another interesting thing is Al Lewis, who played her father in The Munsters, was actually a year younger than her.
Wow. No, I did not know that.
Fascinating, huh? Interesting. And then we have Engelbert Humperdinck. The composer.
Oh.
Yes, the composer.
Not the singer.
Not that Humperdinck.
And not Prince Humperdinck.
No.
Humperdinck.
Humperdinck. Get away from me, you witch.
I'm not a witch, I'm your wife.
Most famous for the opera Hansel and Gretel.
Oh, it's
that he
beautiful
wrote
opera.
in 1893.
I love that opera.
Yes, and the first performance was actually conducted by Richard Strauss.
No kidding.
Yep. And it actually was also the very first opera transmitted live from the Met in 1931 and is an annual favorite now.
Well, I can see that. I would love to see if there's some kind of recording of that first broadcast.
I think they do it on the Met every once in a while.
Oh, that'd be neat
on
to
the
see.
Met Opera Radio. Yeah. So, but they do. The Met does Magic Flute and Hansel and Gretel. I think they do flute on
around Christmas and Hansel and Gretel around New Year's.
Yep, exactly. It's always a New Year's Day favorite.
Yeah, and it's great for the kids too.
Yep. September 2nd. Keanu Reeves, actor, Bill and Ted, Matrix, and many, many more.
And Matrix 4 coming out relatively soon.
Yes. He actually loves ballroom dancing.
Keanu is a very eccentric man, but he is regarded as a terribly nice individual.
Yep. Has quite an interesting parentage. So
yeah.
You know, Hawaiian and Chinese or Asian and several other different root ancestries. Then we have Salma Hayek, actress.
I adore her.
How many things has she been in?
Oh my gosh.
Frida.
I love Frida.
The hitman's bodyguard's wife.
She's wonderful.
Oh my Lord.
She can do drama and comedy perfectly.
Yep. She decided she wanted to be an actress after seeing Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory in 1971.
God, do I feel ancient.
Exactly. And then we have Guy La Liberté, Monsieur Cirque du Soleil himself. At the age of 18, he decided to hitchhike Europe, playing the accordion for money. He learned to do fire eating and stilt walking. And then came back and
made a circus.
Canada. And he was born in Quebec City. And he founded Cirque du Soleil in 1984. Co-founded.
I think he was interested in having a circus that didn't use animals because I think he did not approve of the treatment that they were receiving.
Exactly. And then a friend of ours, Scott Tyler.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. September 3rd. Kitty Carlisle.
Oh, my goodness.
Opera singer and game show panelist.
Oh, yes.
the only panelist to appear in every version of To Tell the Truth,
Right.
from 1956 to 2002.
She was also a favorite on What's My Line?
Yep. And she died in 2007
Yeah.
at the age of 96.
I remember seeing some pictures that, oddly enough, Frank DeCaro took with her.
Exactly. Well, she lived in Manhattan. She had a Madison Avenue apartment.
Well,
She
of course she
bought
did.
1962 at $100,000.
Oh, my God.
After her husband had died.
I can only imagine what its
After
worth
she
was.
died, it was on the market for $12.5 million.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable. And then we have Garrett Hedlund,
Hello.
actor, Tron Legacy.
Yeah.
He's been quite busy since
he's still
Tron
working.
Legacy, yeah. And went to high school in Scottsdale.
Yes, he's an Arizona native.
Yep. Well, not a native.
Not native, but
native,
he's...
but, yeah.
We'll claim him.
Yeah. And Carl Sturmer, Norwegian mathematician and astrophysicist, known for his work in number theory and the calculation of pi. He also for his work on charged particles in the magnetosphere and the development of aurorae.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was his big claims to fame. I just saw him. I thought I would mix it up and add some
science to this?
physicist science. Yes.
Give us some legitimacy.
Exactly. And then we have a friend of mine, Kimberly McGurk Clintobe, and who is the daughter of a friend of mine that for years and years. And I remember when she moved up to Spokane to stay with him for a while. Because she was like 12, 13, something
Wow.
like that. Yeah. And then we have Ethan Gold and our good friend Mark Biaggi.
Happy birthday.
Who has done several clips for us that we still play regularly in every episode.
How much pretty every episode.
Exactly. Happy birthday, Mark. September 4th, Dick York, actor, first husband of Samantha on Bewitched.
Yeah, the first Darren.
The first Darren.
She divorced him and then married a second Darren. How about
Exactly.
that? What
How about
are
that?
the odds?
And look very familiar, very similar.
Kind of similar. Same attitude.
Yep.
I mean, wow.
He left the show in 68 or 67 because from an old back injury that he had.
Sadly.
Yeah, and also his addiction to painkillers. But
Yeah.
two different things, But after acting, he started a charity called Acting for Life and spent time on the phone and from his bed or a chair raising money to help the homeless because his family during the Depression had experienced hunger and homelessness. So he thought, why not? I can do something with, my fame. So he did. Then we have, Anton Bruckner, composer, music theorist, helped to define musical radicalism in the mid-1800s due to his dissonance, unprepared modulations, and roving melodies.
Almost sounds like he's like the great-great-grandfather of 12-Town.
You never know. We heard a short snippet of some of his music in the documentary on Yannick Nézet-Séguin and I commented, we have to investigate some of his music. It was very interesting. It's odd, but interesting. And then we have Max Delbruck.
Now, this has been driving me crazy because I saw that name. I'm like, this
biophysicist.
It was just ringing a bell in my head, and I couldn't place it.
Known for his work in the replication mechanism and genetic structure of viruses. His father, Hans Delbruck,
Okay.
appears in Young Frankenstein.
That's it.
In name only.
That's it. That's it. Thank you. I knew it was bugging me, and I was like, I know that name.
That's why I picked it out. It was a fascinating little interesting thing there. So his father was actually quite, quite a genius himself. So in military warfare and some other things. So it's kind of interesting with Hans and Max Delbruck.
Yes.
September 5th.
Farouk Bulsara.
Freddie Mercury.
Yes.
Singer, songwriter, entertainer.
Oh, my God.
What
That's
can
such
be
an
said
understatement.
about Freddie.
I mean, the man was bigger than life.
He was.
Huge.
Yes. Loved calling people darling.
Oh, yes, all the time.
Called everybody darling.
He had, I mean, even, oh my God, I don't know what to say about this man except that I absolutely idolized him. And a genius songwriter.
Brilliant, yes. And we go from the brilliant to the bizarre. John Cage.
Oh, yeah.
Composer known for his non-standard use of instruments. He was known for putting chains on a piano or somewhat strings from a violin around the strings of a piano and pulling them through and making unusual noises and different instruments and all kinds of weird stuff.
I mean, despite the oddity of what he did, he had a very profound effect on a lot of later composers.
Absolutely.
Howard Shore, when he wrote the music for Lord of the Rings, borrowed a lot of Cage's ideas for some of the scenes and some of the score that you hear throughout the entire trilogy.
Yeah, while his music was just bizarre, he did influence a lot of people, and he looked at music in a very different way, as an awakening. Mm-hmm. His most famous piece is 4 minutes 33 seconds, or 4:33, where a person sits at a keyboard for 4 minutes and 33 seconds.
Just does nothing.
And then gets up
and walks away.
Yeah, exactly. And then we have Randolph Scott.
Randolph Scott? Randolph Scott.
No, not that Randolph Scott.
Crap.
This one was born in 1972 and wrote, produced, directed, filmed, and starred in Womb Raider.
Oh, no.
And that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
And then we have some Facebook friends, Amber KM and Greg Lowe, who is a filmmaker.
Wonderful
and
filmmaker.
A friend of ours. Jason Carney, who's director of the Phoenix Film Festival.
Which just concluded a very successful run.
Absolutely. And Tatiana Patton. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And that's the end of the birthdays this time.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad? Not me, that's for sure. How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name. They don't even have roadkill in a paper cup. That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
Go give a listen to our friends Chuck and Craig at Technorama Podcast.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
We want to give a shout out, as always, to the Joshua Tree Feeding Program. It's a 501c3 nonprofit food pantry for the HIV and AIDS community in Maricopa and Pinal counties. They offer a place where the clients can select a wide assortment of nutritional foods to take home. They set it up just like a store so that the clients can pick and choose the food they prefer, so it empowers the clients and no food is wasted. They also have a second distribution time for those in the gender nonconformity community that may be experiencing food insecurity regardless of HIV status. They have a pet assistance project that they give away pet foods and pet items that every once in a while, as well as some supplements. They have somebody that comes in and looks at the supplements and makes sure that they're okay, and they make sure that they are okay for certain folks that would be getting those supplements that work with their medications. They're an all-volunteer organization, and they could use your support right now. You can give either a monthly recurring gift or a single gift by going to jtfp.org.
And it's time for our feedback. These are comments that were left to us from episodes and articles that we ran. And the links for each of these will be in the show notes for this episode number 341 at our website at tggeeks.com. We only have a few. Starting with, regarding Hamish Downey's new sushi number 118, Morsels of News from Japan and Beyond. He gave a shout-out in that to a Naomi McDougall-Jones, and
Yes.
she wrote back and said, thanks so much for the shout-out, Hamish. Moving on, regarding TG Geeks episode number 336, this is a thank you to a birthday shout-out we gave to our former pastor, an old friend of ours, Steve Wales. He says, enjoyed the podcast, and thanks for the birthday greetings. Gracias.
Garcias.
Yeah, Garcia. It's not a restaurant. Although I'm curious when he says enjoy the podcast. So Steve, does that mean you'll be listening to us more in the future? Does that mean we have 3 listeners now?
You never know.
I'm kind of hoping. And then we regarding TG Geeks episode number 338, got a comment from a longtime friend of mine, Julie Marshall. She had written some feedback for us from a review that I did for the movie Joe Bell. And I read that in episode 338 and said how grateful I am that she is still with us because it gave me a great friendship with her. She replied, you guys are awesome.
Cool, thank you.
And then we got a comment from Craig Stepp. He's, I guess you could call him Mr. Technorama adjacent.
Yeah, there we go. Mr. Other Technorama.
Mr. Other Technorama, yeah. And he wrote, I agree with this comment. And that is our feedback.
And if you want to leave a comment or a feedback or something like that, or just whatever, you can do that. You can do it on our Facebook page because we publish everything to Facebook. You can do it on Twitter and Instagram because everything goes out there, as well as at tggeeks.com, and on our YouTube episodes where it's just the podcast. We also have a listener feedback line. So if you want to leave us a voicemail, you can do that and we'll play it on air and you can be famous like us or not. Call 469.
Did you hear me snort?
That is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice. Well, as everybody knows, we are huge supporters of independent creators, whether it's filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, or others, people that are actually famous. And we would encourage you to see those people wherever you may find them on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, their websites, all those different places that you can find independent creators. Talk to them about their stuff, talk to other people about their stuff, but more importantly, buy their stuff. Please consider supporting independent creators. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. please reach out for help. You are not alone.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
Yeah, we don't have time.
We don't have time. And it's time for our weekly review. These are the items that we ran on our website at tggeeks.com this past week. And the links for each of these articles will be in the show notes for the episode article for number 341 that you can find at our website at tggeeks.com, starting with Sunday, August 22nd, Nerdy Chupacabras, number 62. On Monday, the 23rd, TG Geeks episode number 340. On Tuesday, the 24th, Davette Sees Movies. She gives a review for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and I can just say I am really excited to see this movie after reading her review. On Wednesday, the 25th, welcome to the Blumhouse official teaser trailer. On Thursday, the 26th, The Boss Baby Family Business, available on digital August 31st and Blu-ray DVD September 14th. On Friday the 27th, Hamish Downey's 5 Questions with Tim O'Leary. That was good. And then on Saturday the 28th, This God Made, hosted by Carlton Tetley, Season 3, Episode 3, Spoof Issue number 1. Have some shout-outs that we need to make. First, to the Arkle Times Post Dispatch News for republishing our content from time to time. It is put up by Brian Weber. He was Arkle on Twitter. Now he's Geek of All Trades, G33K of All Trades. He's also referred to as Brian the Ampersand List YouTuber. And you can find the Post Dispatch News by finding him on Twitter. I told you how to find him. But while you're doing that, also go to YouTube. He has his Arkle Studios there. He has a number of projects. His Shameless Cash Grab series, which is in Season 6. Rants vs. Zombies. It is over, but past episodes are still there. As well as Arkle Tier Ranks. He also has his game videos of Trick and Treat, as well as Star Trek Online. We must also give some shout-outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles on their pages. First, to Gay Geeks After Hours for saying, hey, share away. Their URL is facebook.com/group/Gay Geeks After Hours. And then to The Gay Geek for pretty much the same. And their URL is facebook.com/group/The Gay Geek. And as always, we give special thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Other places we can be found are Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Amazon Podcasts, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check us out for a replay on Sci-Fi Radio at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Tuesdays, and listen to their other content through a 24-hour geeky internet radio station. Please rate us and review us on iTunes. Don't let Arkle get ahead of us on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We're going to have several links on the page of things that we talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Please be kind to yourself and those around you. Stay safe, wear a mask, get vaccinated, please. Peace.
Cheers.